right, yeah. This is, I think, going to be very interactive, so definitely hit the hand raise whenever you need to, because I can't see the chat from here. But let me first introduce this and say hi. This cohort has gone extremely fast. I can't believe we've been through as many as we have. But before we actually start, I want to announce the winners of the pitch competition that will happen in 2 weeks. Ammo Energy Technologies, Daylight Science, DESA, Kelowna Brown, Dr. Brownie's, Murphy Cares, BioEdTech, The Research Post, Abstract Sounds, Sun Health, and Non-Resource Center. So we are looking forward to all of you presenting in just 2 weeks. I'm looking particularly forward to it. It's going to be a fun time. So congratulations to all those folks. And we look forward to seeing you there. All right, this one's going to be an exceptionally,
yeah, by all means.
I think, interactive and fun session. One, because it's on branding, marketing, and sales, and that's always a cool topic to me. And the second is because it's 2 of my favorite people presenting, and both of these women walk the walk as well as talk the talk, in terms of what they've done in an industry that historically has not been all that receptive to women. They've carved their own path. So I'm going to let them introduce themselves, but I'm going to do a quick story of Laurie. She's a force of nature in the automotive industry. I've never met anyone in the automotive industry that doesn't know her, which is really something. And 2 anecdotes just in the last 30, 60 days, right? On knowing and connecting everyone. So I've been in the car business a real long time. I thought I knew everybody on the planet. And it turns out there's an organization that I had no idea existed. Perfect for kind of what we do and how we do it. And Laurie knew, of course, all of them and introduced us and, brought us all together, which is pretty amazing. And I felt kind of like maybe I was a novice and just started. Second thing I want to point out is something that just happened, I think, literally in the last week. So next week, and I thank Laurie and Elena because they'll both be at the big, there's one giant car convention that happens once a year. It's the second largest event in Las Vegas that happens next week, which is why I'm not going to, I'll be, in Zoom next week. But this organization, the National Association of Dealers, has an inclusive lunch for women, which is a good idea because, again, historically, that's been a male-dominated industry, except they budgeted too few places, and they started to shut people out because they had too many women. So think about doing exclusive, but then excluding people, right? So people like me say that's unfortunate and probably a bad idea, and maybe they should have planned more, but we basically sit back and lament. Laurie, on the other hand, says that's not right and organizes her own women's luncheon for the people who've been excluded. And she's now up to like 40, she's now at capacity of 40 or so, and runs her own lunch simultaneous so no one is excluded. So I think that actual story says a lot about Laurie. Elena, it's very interesting that this happened right after our team's presentation on side venturing, because she is the example of side venturing. She'll go into her history, but as well as maintaining partnerships at Lyft, sort of like our industry, I have a creative side. What should I do? She started her own Side Geek Central podcast, where she, in fact, instructs folks how to put sales plans together from solo entrepreneurs on, and is exercising a creative side, which complements her, I would say, corporate side. So that's probably the most words I'm going to say during this whole session. Who wants to kick it off? Laurie or Elena? You want to kick it off? All right.
Well, that was a fantastic introduction, John. Thank you. Laurie, is it good if I go for it?
Please do, Elena.
Okay. Well, thank you everybody for being here. Excited to share with you just all the fun things about sales and marketing. So I wanted to see if we can we get into some slides here? Let's see. Is it loading?
Man, we just figured out how to do the chat on the side.
I know, and now it's fun.
Exactly. So I'm actually going to start off, before I get into like formal introductions and everything, I'm going to start off with a story. And so this story is very near and dear to me because it was a story that was told to me and I didn't believe it. So the first thing with this is there was a very famous author, Ron Walker. He is a sales buyer psychologist, and he wanted to perform an experiment and see what a story can do for your pricing, okay? So I know everybody here has their minimum viable product. They're out there hopefully getting some sales on your product so far. So this story is really great to illustrate that. So what he did was he hired 200 writers to go and figure out, all right, what are we gonna put on this one eBay listing for this little bear? So he bought this little bear. It was about $1 at a thrift store, and he put it up on eBay, got a writer to write a story about this bear. And then what happened? $1 became $51. So $51 for this $1 little bear was what ended up happening with pricing because of the power of storytelling. So he did it over and over and over again. He bought, I think, 100 more items, and the pricing of each of these items went up exponentially just due to the power of stories. So storytelling is how you're going to be able to do marketing at scale, right? So storytelling has so much power, and I am, again, a huge fan of it, and I would love to share how
50 times my investment, I'm gonna chuck it all in.
yeah, you can buy thrift store items. So just more of a formal introduction to me and my history. So I started out in the fitness industry. I started back early 2008, bootstrapped my own personal training company from zero, built it up to about 7 figures. I had an entire team, fitness entrepreneur, did that for about 10 years, then moved over to corporate. As John had mentioned, I'm now our automotive partnerships at Lyft. And as you guys have learned from Artin last week, he's very entrepreneurial side ventures. I got a little bit, I don't want to say bored, but I needed a creative outlet. So that's why I started the Side Gig Central podcast, and which is where I also help solopreneurs with their sales strategy. And that is me on the floor of the New York Stock Exchange before my podcast launched. So I'm pretty good at PR as well. So I'm going to talk about ideal client and buying triggers. And the reason why this works kind of so well with storytelling, because all you really need is one really good buyer story, and then you can start extracting these points from each of from your buyer story and start talking to them over and over and over again. And then when you do this and you bring them through the entire buyer journey, you're going to find that not only are you as a brand become more relatable, but then you're able to have unlimited content. And we're going to talk a little bit about social media. And it's like, what are you going to post? That's what my clients always say, what should I post, right? So this is going to help you get there. So this is a very overwhelming slide really quick, and I'll feel free to ping me. I'm happy to send this over to you where you can take a screenshot of it. But basically in this buying trigger technique, you are able to get in front of prospects sooner. You can find less crowded channels to market in. You're creating better messages, more helpful content, and you can become top of mind, okay? So when we go through all of these triggers, I want you to just imagine what in your service and your product and what that looks like. And actually, I would love, love, love to pause here for a moment and just ask in the room here and also virtually, like, what are you guys doing right now for your sales plan? Like, just run me through how are you getting clients? How are you getting people to buy from you right now? Anybody want to go for it? Anybody here in the room? How are people buying from you right now?
But they're not, that's why I'm here. That's
Okay.
why I'm here, right? So this is a highlight for me, right? So
Okay, I can help
I'm
you.
taking copious notes here.
Okay.
So I'm trying to do an open access, peer-reviewed medical journal targeting the pharmaceutical industry, which is where I worked for 25 years doing medical publications for them. So there are headwinds against me because it's an old, the old model, and I'm trying to do something totally different, digitize it, so this, just I'm trying to look what, right, so all these are.
Right, all these triggers.
Yeah, so I'm trying to figure out where I can fit in with people
What your
who do
story-
what I used to do.
Yeah,
I get it, but they get it, but they're not buying it.
but
right?
also
So
too,
how to trigger them, to motivate them to act.
yeah, and also too, like positioning your thought leadership too,
Right.
because you've been in the pharmaceutical, how long have you been in
25 years.
So yeah, so there's thought leadership there, there's expertise, and that is a story, right? So, yes, Bruce,
So I'm still putting together a prototype. So I'm
okay,
obviously not selling yet.
okay, all good.
I'm not sure how I'm starting up yet, but my intention is that I'm going to be putting together an online community of users who can share their stories and how they use the equipment I'm building, to whether it's just look for advice from each other. This is it's a hobbyist sort of thing that everyone likes to share what they're doing.
Got it,
Is
yes.
the idea. And so I'm hoping to have the community is going to be central to building and marketing the product.
Yeah, and maybe also to highlight, you said the keyword there, story, right? Sharing their stories, right? And then so what's your goal with having the community? Is it to get the word out about what you're doing with your equipment, or what kind of?
Yeah, I mean, it is really, I'm making scientific tools for hobbyists.
Okay,
And my intention of the community is
Okay.
that is to promote people doing science at home for fun. Or to learn and
nice.
discover
Okay.
on their own.
Okay,
Which will obviously help in the sales of my product.
yes.
But really,
yes,
the
okay.
idea is to promote more people doing this.
Got you,
At least
got
I
you.
can, yeah, but that's the point.
Almost like I think there was a dad on YouTube that was doing science experiments like during like the height of the pandemic, and then he just had this
Mhm.
whole channel below. So maybe it's like
Right,
that
there's-
sort of like
Yep.
you're sharing how to do something, and
Mhm.
then having everybody, yeah, perfect. I love it. Sharing stories, hang on to that thought. And
Did that blow up? Would you just?
the dad with the
That's really
science,
interesting.
the science experiments,
Mhm.
I'll forward you the channel. I don't remember what it is off the top of my head. Or you could just Google dad with
Yeah.
science experiments.
So there's actually a lot of people
Yeah.
do science experiments on YouTube that
Yes.
have millions of followers.
Yes, exactly.
So
Love that.
We got lots of hands.
Okay, hand raisers, yes,
and there's
okay.
a lot of things in the chat.
All right, very good. Can we,
Let's hit the hand raisers, then we'll hit the chat.
I can't see it on my computer because I'm presenting.
I think the first is Chris.
Chris.
Okay, go ahead, Chris. Hi, Chris.
Hello. Thanks for taking the time to speak with us today.
Yeah, of course.
My sales funnel mostly consists of people being brought in from social media. We mostly use TikTok and Instagram, and they are the purchasers of my online courses.
Oh, great. So you're an online course creator.
Correct.
Yes. All right, Chris. You're my people. Excellent. And what kind of courses do you create?
We do like cutting edge science. I'm a scientist myself. So basically in these first version of these courses, I just teach my discipline, which is CRISPR gene editing.
Perfect. Okay, good. Yes, perfect. I love it, Chris. Who is next?
Tony.
Tony.
Hello, everyone. How are you?
Hello.
So, like Chris, my sales funnel, I sell plant-based brownies, and it is through basically social media. And, I'm learning how to do these Facebook ads. They're a monster, but I'm learning that.
Nice. Okay, great. And then, so when you're doing Facebook ads, have you found any success?
Well, because I am learning, I have some success because, Facebook, I've actually got more sales on Facebook than Instagram, TikTok, or Twitter. So I
Yeah.
found that very interesting. So slowly but surely, I'm trying, I'm just pushing away.
Do you have a strong personal presence on Facebook, Tony?
I don't think so. I mean, I have more of a strong presence on Instagram because I do voiceover work for a lot of people.
Okay.
And so, but Facebook, I have my own personal profile, but it's I'm just not sure. I'm swimming around in social media, man.
All right, well, I can absolutely, these buying triggers are going to help you get the content that people are going to want to buy from you. So that's the whole point there. Thank you, Tony, for sharing. Cool. So that was great. It was great to hear what everybody's working on. And so
Don't stop. I think you've got a bunch in the chat, and Deborah's got
Sorry.
it up as well.
I can't really tell. Hi, Deborah, go ahead.
Hello, how are you guys? Thank you for having this great talk. It's one of my favorite subjects, actually. So I actually own a promotional products firm, and for the promotional products firm, social media doesn't really work for my type of clients, but for my nonprofit that I recently started, it's the word of mouth and educational and the more content and video that I put out, that's how I am getting my sales. And my clients, and the other one is by a reward program and saying thank you. For some reason, saying thank you goes a lot of way, and you create business evangelists is what I like to call them, because they'll go out and spread the word about your business.
Right, so you have a really strong referral network. You have people just singing your praises. Do you have an email list, Deborah?
Yes, I do, for both the nonprofit and my my promotional products firm.
Great, that's great. And are you seeing a lot of traction with it?
With both, yes. As far as the promotional products firm, I originally started my business to help small businesses, but after the pandemic, mostly none of the nonprofits or small business came back to doing business with me. So I had to go back into the corporate world. So those ClickFunnels are a little bit slower than it was when I were doing traditional customers or small businesses.
Got it, okay,
So maybe
got it. Well, storytelling for you, Deborah, is also gonna be paramount, and let's, if nobody else has any.
Michelle does.
Okay, okay, we'll get to Michelle and then we'll dive into the rest here. Michelle, what's up?
Hi, sorry, I didn't know how to raise my hand on this Zoom. So
That's
that's why I did that. So I'm a digital pet therapy and I'm a nurse, and we constructed a white paper. We're also just did some local media, local news stories, nurse, innovator, that kind of thing. But we're about to launch across the US into the pediatric world. Again, just a lot of cold calling, white paper, and updating our website. We've done a little bit of social media, but again, it all has a price tag. So we're trying to strategically lay it out the best way.
Got it. And then what about thought leadership for you? Are you getting in front of people that would be decision makers or?
Good. Yeah, right. So we try to, try to get the word out with conferences. To be a speaker at a conference or something like that, you have to really apply like a lot of months ahead of time. We have a poster that we presented at a national conference, but again, really have not really saturated the pediatric hospital market yet. We're trying to get, a couple behind our belt and then really hit it out. But we're about to do that with a new website and really try to get it out there.
Got it. Okay. Well, Michelle, thank you for sharing. That was very helpful. And actually although everybody's industry is different, everybody's working on different things, there's one common thread that goes with every single person that just shared with me right now, and that is storytelling. And at the end of the day, you need people to buy your product or your service, or you just have a really expensive hobby. I've had a couple of those, right? Really expensive hobby, you're very passionate about it, it's not bringing in money, right? So we need people to pay you for your product and your service. And what I really love about storytelling is the fact that when you are sharing a story with someone, that is lighting up the emotional part of their brain, right? The part of their brain where they're just like, okay, yes, I can relate to you on this level. And then also too, you are then opening yourself up to these beautiful trigger points, okay? So let's go around it really quickly. We won't get too clinically into it, but I'll touch on each one briefly, and I'll use my own buyer story so that you can kind of get an example. So the first is what triggered me to begin the buying journey. And actually, Tony is the one with the brownies, is that right? No, did I get that wrong, John?
I think you're right.
Tony with the brownies? Okay, so from what I understand, because I did ask John about this ahead of time, you have this phenomenal vegan brownie, and the trigger for you to start this business was your son was like, hey, I'm a vegan, and tell me that story real quick, Tony.
Okay. A mother of 6 children. My son said, Mom, I need to eat healthy, but I really want that brownie. And I said, what? I don't make, I'm not vegan. And I said, and so during the pandemic, I was baking. And a friend of mine called me and said, you know, my son is getting out of jail. And I said, oh, and she said, he has nothing to do. And I said, well, send him to my house. I got plenty of for him to do. And so he came here and we started baking, and he was like, Miss Tony, I've never baked before. And that's what really catapulted Dr. Brownies, because I'm also in my PhD program. And I decided that I want Dr. Brownies first to be sustainable. Okay, we have eco-friendly packaging, and then we only hire returning citizens. So that is Dr. Brownies in a nutshell, man.
I love it. So Tony, the story that you just told there at the beginning, that is your story, and that is the story that everyone needs to hear over and over and over again, right? Because at that point, it humanizes what you're doing, right? It's compelling, it is solving a problem, and it makes your brand stand out from anything else that I could buy that's in the market, right? So it's like using that. Yes, exactly. Inspiring story, Tony. Yes, correct. Hey, what's up, Rocky? I know Rocky. Sorry, it's Rocky. You know Rocky. Yeah. Okay. Anyway, all right. So let's go into the. Okay, so buying.
Can I have a sidebar for just a second? Okay.
Yes.
There's a demo day next week, as I understand it. Tony, are you coming and bringing brownies?
Of course, John.
Okay.
What is wrong with you? I will be there with bells.
Commission somebody at the Science Center to save me some brownies.
It doesn't save some brownies.
I mean, you're talking to the person that brings candy with them everywhere they go. I need to sample the brownie. Sorry, I didn't mean.
No, that's okay.
It's an important sidebar.
That's very important. So we're talking about, so the trigger, so the Tony story is a really great job of what triggered me to begin the buying journey, right? So maybe I have someone in my household who also wants to eat healthier, is a vegan, right? So maybe that's the trigger in their brain to look for other solutions. And then the second thing is, what is the exact job that I'm trying to get done? And now I'm talking as me, the consumer, the buyer, okay? What is the exact job? And the more specific that you can be with the job that this person is trying to get done, the better, okay? We'll get into this a little bit later on. So, and then what pains did they have with other solutions, right? So maybe they tried a different brownie and it tasted awful, right? So maybe in your buyer story, Tony, you could be talking about the fact that other brownies that are out there that are healthy don't taste delicious like yours do, right? So that's a pain that they have with other solutions. And then the fourth one is more tapping into the emotions, right? Because everyone buys emotionally and then they justify it logically, okay? So what are their selfish desires in that moment? And I think, John, you illustrated it very beautifully. You said, I want those brownies because I like chocolate. Okay.
And if I can eat healthier and have chocolate, that's
Hey,
good.
hey,
Now you can eliminate the calories too.
Yeah. Exactly, exactly. So I'm going to use an example, a real life example here. And this is my dog Bear. Okay. This is Bear. He's a goofy golden doodle, and I love him so much. But here is the story with Bear, and I'm going to bring you through the buying journey of how I ended up buying dental chewy sticks for him. Okay, was not in the market for dental chewy sticks for a dog. I was not, until there was a trigger that happened. Okay, and this is, so question number one, question number two kind of go together. And what happened was I took him to the vet, and the vet was like, he's got some like tartar stuff happening. You should really brush his teeth more often. I'm like, all right, I guess I failed with that. But then what ended up, and going back to the second point here, when did your ideal client first realize that they had a problem or a job to do? That's also very critical. It could be a life event that happened. It could be a, I don't know, just something that triggered them to know that they have a problem, okay? So continuing with the Bear story here, my job that I had to get done was I needed to be able to brush my dog's teeth. Now, when I tried to put the toothbrush into Bear's mouth, he would not, he will not stand for it. Like you would have better luck, like, I don't know, trying to get an eagle to like land on your arm, right? So this like the job that I'm trying to get done is get his like dental hygiene in check and make sure that he doesn't have plaque in his mouth, okay? So again, I'm weaving this around pains that are happening to me currently in my life. And at this point, it's important to pay attention to where you can start marketing in less crowded channels. Less crowded channels could be where your ideal client is hanging out. What are they listening to? What are the other places that they're looking on the internet? What podcasts are they listening to? Everybody write down this website right now. It's called SparkToro. It's a free site. You can go on it. If you know what your ideal client is looking at, you can even put a hashtag, and you know your ideal client follows the hashtag competition or collaboration over competition, like you know that they follow that hashtag, you can then use that engine. It's free. You get 5 free searches. And you can use that engine and it'll tell you all the podcasts that that person listens to. And then you pitch yourself to be a guest on that podcast. I have a podcast, so I kind of know a little bit about that. So it's a very, very successful way to, guess what, to get in front of people that are going to buy your product, and you did it for free.
SparkToro?
SparkToro, yep. Yeah, so SparkToro.com. Okay. All right, enough of this husky. We're going to go to the next one. So pains with other solutions. This is what I was like when I was trying to brush Bear's teeth. Okay, so I very clearly had a pain with this happening. Like I can't go and brush his teeth. So there's got to be something else in the marketplace that's going to solve this problem. This is where I'm starting to consume ads for like little toy chewy things that he like has to, right? So again, think about your product, think about your service, and think about what is your ideal customer? Like what else are they looking at? Because they're looking at other solutions. Now, I will say though, too, in the first 2 categories, in that first, the question that you have, the trigger question, and then the job to be done, that's when you start like getting your thought leadership in. That's when you start talking about like, I'm an expert in this space. I'm an expert in pharmaceuticals. I'm an expert in scientific cool equipment stuff. I am an expert in making delicious brownies, right? So those are the opportunities that we call kind of like target moments to get in front of those people. How am I doing on time? Am I all right? Okay. So selfish desires. So this is, okay. This is being Bear, and this is kind of like, it encompasses like I really love Bear a lot, and he's my favorite friend. So I want Bear to live forever, but there is strong emotion tied to the love that I have from a bear. Yes, I'm a really weird, crazy dog mom, okay? So, but the marketers that were behind the product that I eventually bought, I need like an affiliate commission from this place, but from the product that I eventually bought, tapped into my emotion that I have with my dog. They're like, oh, Bear's gonna live like a long, healthy life. We're gonna help you get there every step of the way. They were telling me what I needed to hear in terms of the emotion that I have for my dog, okay? So what are the emotions? What are the underlying urges, the underlying desires that your ideal client, we're all human, we all have them, right? They're there. So I encourage you, if you're still are kind of like, I don't have client number one yet, this is the time when you can start to uncover, talk to as many people as you possibly can, even if you're not selling at the full price of what your product or service is, but someone who is willing to trade dollars for your product or service. Ask them these 4 questions. What triggered you to start the buying journey? And we're going to get into the recap here. So yes, here's the recap. What triggered your ideal client to start the buying journey? When did they realize? Because then those 2 points there, you have a story, and I'll get back to how you create content with that. What is the job that they need to get done? What are the pains that they have with other solutions? And what are their selfish desires? When you can answer that question, and this is what I work with my clients with on doing this is what I call my sales foundation. This is your sales foundation right here, because what you can start doing is take these 5 questions and make them content pillars. And then you can hop on Instagram Live, you can do a reel, you can do a tweet, you can do a LinkedIn post about any of these things. It doesn't have to be all of them together, but you can take one specific example. I'll take the example of I can't put the toothbrush into his mouth because he will bite my hand, okay? That is a standalone piece of content, because immediately it's like, yes, this brand has a point of view, but then also too, it's like, hey, they have something interesting to say. I'm going to continue to listen to what they have to say, right? So we're all vying for attention, right? Especially in a really saturated marketplace. Any questions so far, or anything that you guys need me to reiterate on, or how are we doing? Any light bulbs coming up?
Let's see the chat.
Let's see the chat.
See if there's anything.
There we go. Yes, Sparktoro. Yes, exactly.
Good. Okay.
You have the same issue with your, yes, see, it is our issue, and this company is doing really well because I bought from them, because they solved my problem. Yes.
Okay, anyone hands up questions?
Any
Comments?
Questions?
All right, let's keep going.
No, I think, okay, so just to recap too, if you wanted to take a screenshot of the buying trigger technique, here's your chance. The other thing too, and happy to answer questions one-off or however I can help everybody here, is identifying target moments. Now, I briefly touched on, maybe being a guest on a podcast, maybe even doing a guest blog post, doing some sort of a collaboration. You would be surprised at how much further your reach goes to ideal clients that will potentially buy from you when you start to team up with collaborators who have a similar audience than you. Like, I'll give you a great example. So I work with solopreneurs who have either are still in corporate or have left corporate, and I help them with their online digital business. I teamed up with another, so a marketing coach. We did an Instagram Live. We will do it like quarterly, and we will have that content. Both of us will benefit from it, right? Because everybody's everybody's in the content game. Everybody's like, what am I going to post? What am I going to post? Right. So not only when you pitch this collaboration, you say, okay, you're going to benefit, you're going to have this piece of content, I'll have it as well. We'll share it between us. And then you never know if you will then be invited back to do a guest speaking appearance, or another opportunity might happen because of the fact that you had that pitch or that collaboration. So that's an example of a target moment. And then crafting a promise is more along the lines of, what is the job? So going back to the triggers, what is the exact job that your ideal client is trying to do? And then identify that. And then at the end of it, it's how you are going to help them. Right? So what is the job, and what is your unique solution that helps them? That's your promise. So you can also think of it like I like promise instead of guarantee. I feel like promise is a little bit more nurturing. Any questions? That's really the buying trigger technique that I had ready to go for everyone. Hopefully everyone found that helpful, and you'll start answering those 5 questions, and you'll start putting together content pillars and having your story told, because your story is your most critical brand asset. Absolutely.
So,
yes, Tony, go ahead.
I am sitting here and I'm laughing at myself because I'm like, girl, you better get on this, because my brownie, I actually have a brownie mix. So my brownie mix is it's packaged and it's refrigerated. And if you look in the stores, there's no ready to pour. I call it ready to pour brownie mix that people can bake.
Yeah.
You have to go add water, liquid, and all this, and it's not plant-based. So I just want to thank you, because now I can literally create content for the month, because I'm like, what am I doing? What am I doing?
Exactly. Yes, Tony, you are on the right track. You are absolutely on the right track. And you will, and once you have all this content published, guess what? You can repurpose it, because no one is Beyonce, okay? We're not like looking at you 24/7. People will forget, right? So once you have that content out there, you're sharing it, repurpose it. You can make the email that goes out. That email can then be a video, can then be a tweet, right? So there's so many different ways that you can make, and I will use the analogy of being a chef in the kitchen, right? You take all these ingredients, like all your buying triggers is what your audience, your ideal client, your ideal customer needs to hear from you on a daily basis. Do not be posting things about, this beautiful like sunset. That has nothing to do with your business. Do a personal page if you want to like share about the beautiful sunset, right? You want to be speaking to these things all of the time. And that's how you're going to have content that's not salesy. Because the other question I get a lot is, Elena, I want to sell, but I don't want to feel sleazy, and I don't want to feel salesy, and I don't want to, like, there's just this really bad connotation around selling, right? But if you look at it as you are helping them solve a problem, you are helping them be a part of a community, you are helping them understand like something that's very, very complex, because you have thought leadership in the space, like that is not salesy, right? Because then you are then positioning yourself as the expert, and you're just saying, I'm here to help you. So,
Elena, thank you. Thank you so much.
Oh, you're welcome, Tony. It's my pleasure. Thanks, Rocky.
Yeah, I'm gonna have questions too.
Okay. I didn't want to drone on too long. I'm gonna give Laurie a chance here.
I'm gonna switch to Laurie in a second, but
Yes.
I'll tell you, in 2 weeks we have a pitch competition, and it took me a long, long time to realize everything that you're saying applies to investors as well, right? It's the story thing, it's getting in, and the goal is to get money, but the goal is to get them on your side, right? And you do that with a story, because everything has flaws, every business model has flaws, right? And if you come off as too, I know everything, right? You build up a level of resistance, and that's not what you want. You want them on your side first, so that they can help you, And then they'll probably give you money, or they'll refer you to somebody, or they'll help your business in some way. And that's exactly what you're talking about, right? Let's get them into the story, get them into the thing. All right, good. Laurie, you have a phrase that I actually love and wish I'd coined it, better together, right? Which tends to get everyone cohesed kind of with you, and then you figure out where the pieces are put together. But anyway, I just wanted to mention that. I want to kick off with your presentation, and then I got loads of questions for everybody. But I won't dominate. I'll let everybody else get questions first.
Awesome. Well, as I get started, is my audio okay right now for everyone?
Sounds good.
Okay, fantastic. John, thanks for the thoughtful introduction. And again, thanks for letting me join in on this. I had no idea this consortium existed until John shared it with me. When he asked me to jump in, this is exactly the kind of activity and productivity that I like participating in. So my name is Laurie Foster. I'll just give you a little tiny bit of background if you want it. If you don't, you can like get out the hook and cut me off at any time. So I've been in automotive for about 24 years. Very unlikely that I wound up here. But as a single mom, I had to come up with an income after kind of a tricky divorce. We had plenty of money, but I wanted to not need that money. So I walked into automotive, not knowing what to do, but I did have a ton of skills. And I want you to think about that part right now. We had run a successful construction company. I had been a mother. I had volunteered at everything. I played the piano for everything at church weddings, funerals, church services, all of this. So I had tons and tons of skills. I baked, I did cakes for people, like really nice, beautifully decorated cakes. And when it was time to go do something, I'm like, what in the world am I going to do? And so I decided to roll up what I have and go into sales, which was just horrible for me. Like, why am I doing this? And then how did I wind up in auto? That's a long story. But what I saw when I looked around is what wasn't working, right? Because I was a mom of 3 teenagers, because I was immersed in project management with construction, because I knew how to run budgets. I had built houses of our own and dealt with lots of different people. So I leaned heavy into what I knew, and I could see a landscape that was rife with opportunities that were just unmet. All of this potential out there, and people were settling. So I decided at 38 years old, swinging a broom, we call them a broom in automotive, to like clean all of the snow off the cars in the north. So imagine this, I'm out there and I've got these teenagers at home, and I'm like, I've kind of been something in my former life. I'm like, what in the world am I doing, right? Those guys that are inside laughing at me, right? Because I'm out here, we're cleaning snow and all this. I'm like, I know that I am more committed than them. I might be smarter than them. And I see something beyond what they see. They're inside these glass walls and they see this a certain way. Why is this all important? Well, at that moment, I decided that I was either going to own and run my own dealership, or I was going to consult to dealers everywhere. And it wasn't that long, maybe like 8 years before that started coming to life. It took, I knew I needed more experience. But so every day when I went to work, I looked at like, what if I was in charge of this? What if there were possibilities? What if I could pack my things up and be anywhere, work anywhere? What if I could take this influence that I have and expand it and share it with others? Because I saw a lot of disenfranchised people also, people that were looking for a place. Most people don't wind up in automotive, especially automotive sales, on purpose. Something usually, I'm going to say usually unfortunate, happened in their life, okay? And so then they're here and they're looking to make some maybe quick money, but I was looking for a career. So I helped people every day. And this is where my training, the training arm of what I do, took off with no compensation from the dealership that I worked with. I just chose to contribute to others, because people coming in, the turnover rate in automotive, if you've heard of this at all, is atrocious. The attrition is about 70% annually. So there's always somebody new there. So it's a really tumultuous business. And then the pay is uneven, because you have a good month, you have a bad month. And so people are doing okay, but then they have a bad month. Not only are their personal finances jeopardized, the dealership is yelling at them for their lack of productivity. So pressure on every end. And we just don't see the best out of people there. But I'm looking around with my eyes and I'm going like, there's a rep from Ford Motor Company or from BMW, yet we are not all getting the information. There's a rep for our services to make the cars better. There are people coming at us with knowledge and training, yet they're isolated and they're tucked away in different places. And this is when I started thinking, my gosh, if we all just talked about these things, we would be, what's the phrase, John?
Better together.
Better together. Like we
your phrase, I just.
we can lift, because like the rep from like BMW would come in and then I don't know anything on the other side. This becomes so important because I decided to be an evangelist inside of automotive. I decided to lift my voice. One of 33 people selling vehicles at that location. I was the only female, right? And I don't say that I work in a male dominated industry. I'm a bit of a wordsmith and really like to make sure every word that I say matters. But I do say that I've been in a predominantly male industry. And I would like each of you to jot that down, because I know that some of you are in quote male dominated, but that actually gives the power to the men when you say that. That makes you, even in your own mind, it reinforces a victim mindset and it gives power to men, whether you say it or not. It also makes good men bad guys. Right? We don't need any more of this. So I'm always looking for back to better together. Yes, I still work in a predominantly male industry, but I've managed to become quite successful inside of that. Once I parked that, I'm not dominated by men. I just work with a lot of men like John, who's a fantastic guy, and a lot of you here that I'm sure are. So when these things are happening, I'm accumulating knowledge. And I'm still looking for how do I spread this message farther faster. We're going to shoot forward to 2012. I'm in my high-rise apartment in Chicago with my partner at the time, and I had 500 LinkedIn followers, 500, which back in 2012, that was like kind of a big deal. And I mentioned this benchmark to my partner, and his good friend and colleague happened to be meeting us later for drinks. And I was getting a lot of teasing from them because, oh, 500 followers. Do you know all of those people? And I don't have 500 friends. I don't have 5 friends. And, just a lot of rousing was going on. And I looked at them and I went, I'm going to have 1,000 by the end of the year. And they were like, why would you do that? That's nuts. That's crazy. That's goofy. I don't even want anybody to know my stuff, know my business. It's just a job search for them. Well, fast forward, I now have 23,000 followers on LinkedIn. And here's how I did that. I decided that same voice that I needed to exercise and flex earlier on needed to get out there. And there are a lot of great people that are searching for content and someone that they can trust. And so I decided to do something really uncomfortable for me and go for it. Now, you might be sitting there listening, going like, oh my God, like I know a TikTok influencer with 50 million followers. Well, that's good, but I can't dance like that, folks. And I don't have all those moves. I have 0 moves. Now in Las Vegas, when we're all there next week, John, maybe like after a couple somethings, maybe I will, but no. So I took a look at it and went, okay, I've had this strong belief that automotive could be a better place for customers, for employees, for everybody in the ecosystem. Back to better together again. And so I thought, I'm going to start using my voice. So as I added connections, I wrote back to every one of them. I wrote personal notes to everybody. Over time, that became harder. Over time, the invites started coming in. Why is all this important? Today, I have a special reputation inside the industry as having a very curated network of industry professionals that are either in automotive or our alliance networks, banking, marketing, digital products, software, technology products. a lot of work with people. And then I have a voice for women also, because women are grossly underrepresented in automotive. I'm going to tell you a little stat that drives me a little bit. And so maybe you'll understand why the pain is so high in automotive. Out of all of the seats in a dealership environment in automotive, guess how many are occupied by women? I mean, we've got the whole thing. We've got collision, service, parts, finance, accounting, title offices, salespeople. So go ahead and pop some guesses in here. How many women out of 100 at every dealership you're going to go to? Let's see some guesses. I'm watching. Okay. Those numbers are fun. It's actually a little higher than most of these. It's 18.9. So if you jot down 18.9 out of every 100, no, I'm sorry, 19.8 out of every 100. So not quite 20%. But I, a person who does my research, I was working for the largest automotive retailer in the country. And I wanted to know, well, why are women then, like if 1 in 5 are women, that means there must be something going wrong with these broken rungs towards them. Like, why are they not in leadership? So I took a look at payroll. And when I took a look at payroll, here's what I saw. Out of every $1 million of payroll going out each month at a dealership, only $80,000, 8% was going to women. So women were not in an arena where they could make more money. So they're never going to career climb. They don't get their entrepreneurial minds fed, like if that's something that you like. They don't have opportunities and they don't have a voice. This all becomes important again, because I am the female that pressed through. And now I'm 12, 13, 14 years in, and I'm like, I've got to do something about this. I want you to know that you each have a voice and you have a platform. You just may not have fully uncorked it yet. The first person that has to discover it, it might not even be you. It might be somebody else that tells you you have a voice. And that's what happened to me. So as I jumped into this, I started intentionally building not just a pile of people inside my LinkedIn, but started to be, again, very much curating. I would say that out of every 10 LinkedIn requests I get, I only take 2 or 3 because I look at their profile, make sure it aligns, not to just throw people out, but I want to make sure I'm talking with an audience. So far, I hope this is right now just giving you a little like background on how this all operates for me and where I came from. So then as I started to get into, 5,000, right? And then started climbing intentionally. The requests are pouring in. I'm strategically going out. And I wanted to talk to all of you today about how I was able to build out of a gal who was selling cars as a single mom, swinging that snow broom, right? You got that picture? Going like, how did I create a brand that people respect, they trust, they believe in, and they are inspired by? And because I want you to know you can be that too, because I am truly nobody special. So here's what you need to do for your social media presence. And I'm not going to talk about advertising right now, but I'm also going to tell you a secret. I've had my company now, my own company, for 3 years. I have spent $0 on advertising, absolutely zero. Why? Because everything that I did, I bootstrapped my own company, and I knew that that just wasn't going to work. And I knew that I already had an audience of about 14 or 15,000. And I'm like, talk with them. Why go run and knock on 1 million doors? Talk to the audience that's right here, not just even at my doorstep, right here, like an arm's length away from me. So the things I'm just going to give you, and again, man, Elena had a great like PowerPoint. I've got nothing for you. This is just our conversation. I hope it's okay. So number 1 is just decide. Just decide that you're going to do it. So the first thing I sometimes do, like this little acronym AIDE, AIDE, awareness, intention, discovery, and then expectations of yourself. So the first thing is to be aware that social media can be a powerful, powerful tool. Doesn't have to cost you any money at all. You've got access to it everywhere you go now. Literally, you're never more than an arm's length away from your device, or you're freaking out. And so then we go into intention. So now I'm aware that I can do this. Now, is it my intention to actually leverage these tools? I didn't say that you have skills yet. I said, is it your intention to do it? This is one of those things that when the more you do it, the more skillful you are. Believe it or not, this is a side note. I now get paid to write for people. I am no English major. I am not a journalist, but because I developed a style that people like, I get paid to write for people. I got an article sitting right here. I got to finish. That was just my own reminder to myself. But so I get paid to write because I found that I developed this skill. The next thing I would say, if you're going to be intentional, is you have to be consistent. Now, there are people that are going to say, join the 4 a.m. club. If you're not up and have everything rolling by 7, you're sunk. Man, somebody asked today, there was a LinkedIn poll earlier. I'm like, are you a morning person or a PM person? I'm like, I'm an all over the place person. I have energy surges throughout the day. I have dips. I have busyness. I got stuff going on. But you know what I do? I stay focused and I get it done. So I stay committed and I stay consistent. So on LinkedIn, I'm going to talk about that particularly right now, but this applies to any social platforms, is the algorithm recognizes and rewards consistency. Now you will see some people say, oh, the best times to post are between 10 and 3 on Tuesday through Thursday. Hogwash. The only reason they say that is that just happens to be when the most people are on there, but they don't know your audience, right? They don't know your audience. So I say hogwash to a lot of things. People talk about the algorithm. I prove them wrong all the time. So we're going to talk about this a little bit, and then I really do want to hear your questions. So now be consistent. And I'm going to say this, I'm going to say, find your voice. I mean, find it. I don't mean like go on a mad hunt for it. Just start writing. Just start writing. What's on the top of your mind today? So somebody, anybody from the room, anybody right now, just pop up. What's something that you're good at in your industry or your business that you think other people would be interested to know about? Anybody, just pipe up, raise your hand, say it out loud.
Throw it in the chat.
Say it again.
There's lots of people here that are experts. I've been doing this for weeks now. I know everybody's business. There's lots of expertise. So
okay, Michelle, I'm looking right at you and Rocky right now. That's where my pictures are here. So okay, I'm looking right at you and Rocky. So you two are on the spot. Everybody else, give them a big ha ha. They got called out. So, Michelle, what's something people should know about what you do?
I have a heart of gold and I have a strong passion to help people. I'm very committed to really making an impact and helping people.
Do what? Help them do what?
With what I'm creating, I want to take that. I want to take that anxiety and stress out of them. I want them to have a spark of joy. I want them to be. I don't want them to feel that. It breaks my heart to see people experience that. And with what I'm trying to create, I'm trying to have them be in control and give them a friend.
Okay, so what is your business? I'm so sorry that I missed it.
Okay, it's okay. It's digital pet therapy. So you could tap into a live dog 24/7 just at your fingertips, and you're in complete control. You're in control of that dog.
So you are almost there, and I'm not sure how much work you've done on social already, but let's just play here, okay? Is that all right with everybody? Hoping I'm seeing some nodding heads. So you don't want to just help people. So you want, like, through dog therapy, you have seen people's lives change. Here's something that happened this week. As Elena was saying earlier, you know, it's facts tell, stories sell. But we're not trying to sell them products and stuff. You're just trying to say, here's why this the business that I created is so rewarding. Here's a story last week. Cassie Halber came in and was able to spend time with this animal or whatever. And I don't even know what you do, right? But like, so get it out there. And so start writing it. And then all of a sudden you'll find more things to talk about. So always keep your pen handy. And I say, not just your type, your keyboard, but your pen, right? Now you know how old I am. I almost said typewriter, but that's 100 in Gen Y years. So have your ideas down, like, okay, in addition to, change people's lives. But again, ask yourself the next question. How did I change people's lives? Who was the person? Like, what was the event? What was the weather like? What had happened in their life? Where did this dog come from? How are they trained? Like, start giving people the story. And when you start getting out of your head, like, oh my God, I'm operating out of ego. Nobody's going to want to hear what I have to say. Just start getting out there things that are happening, current events that are happening with it. Get all the way rid of this week only, dog therapy, only $99. Buy one, get 3 free. Nope, we're just talking about it, right? So that's where I would start, like if I was in dog therapy on LinkedIn. Rocky, let's talk to you about your business.
Sure. I advise a couple of different startups that I've invested in.
Could you repeat that? We had some background noise. I'm so sorry.
I'm sorry. Yeah, I advise a few startups that I've invested in personally. And my objective really is just how can I help them grow? Of course, I want to see my investment grow as a result, but what kind of obstacles are in their way and how can I help remove those obstacles and introduce people to the products that I know that because I've invested in them are desperately needed in the marketplace.
Yeah, so that's amazing because you are solving something very few people do. You're working in startup advisory, you're helping people make good financial moves. So I would just talk about it like, here's 3 things that happened today, here's 2 things that happened, or here's part 1, 2, 3. Just start stringing a story together. Why did you get into this work? What's the what challenges are your clients facing? What challenges are their clients facing? Like, how is this all going? How is supply chain impacting your world, right? I'm making it all up here, right? But just start writing. Now I'm going to say something a little different here. And Elena, you know how much I adore you, but I'm going to say on social media, be your whole entire self. But we're going to level up and be the best version of yourself. Right? Like if somebody's taking you home to meet their mama, that's the person that you're going to be on LinkedIn. That's not to be fake, but it really has even made me think about, things like my political opinions or affiliations or philanthropic work or all of these things, right? Like, am I really the person that I want people to think I am? Like, I need to be that person, right? So take yourself and level it up. Again, we're not faking it till we make it. We're just saying, you know what? If I want to be an industry leader, and you have to declare what you want, going back to our awareness and intention, discover what that is that you want to be and be it. It's just your choice. It's a lever that goes like this, click, you just decide. So discover that voice that you want to have, that persona that you want to be. Jot down the adjectives that you want people to use to describe you. So I would say like my adjectives. You know what, actually, I'm going to toss this back to John for a second because this is a little hard for me. John, if you had to say a few adjectives that would describe my presence on LinkedIn, what would you say?
Okay, so I would say ubiquitous in the sense that this better together it manifests itself in every single post you do, but none of the posts are the same, right? So whether you're talking about the women's lunch or whether you're talking about finances or it's all tied together by this better together. Hey, you know what? If I can grab 3 people here, and here and put this together, this would make sense, right? And that's what I think attracts folks to you on LinkedIn, because they realize that, but they don't have the connections to say, you know what? I'm as diverse. I can grab this person, and it'll make something. right?
Yep.
And that's what I think is the theme of every one of your posts, even though they're diverse posts, right? It's like, it's gonna help me because you're gonna know people that I don't know and you're gonna put the connection together because I'm in my silo, right? Even a remote, the example I gave of the organization that you knew that I didn't, right? So I'm not sure that qualifies as a few words, but that's the underlying current to the whole thing.
I like it. So I would say, thanks for all of that, John. I would say that being a connector is one of the words people would use to describe me. I'm helpful. I'm not afraid to lead the charge. I won't say I'm unafraid. Did you hear that? It's not that I'm unafraid, but I'm not afraid to go forward. I tell the truth in love, right? So I'm a truth teller. I'm honest. I'm transparent. I'm three-dimensional. I am a real human being that people are interacting with, and they feel that. And I think in my AIDE, awareness, intention, discovery, I discovered that my true essence really is helping others. And helping others connect and meet each other. I would rather to see Deborah meet up with Bruce than me know either of them. If I could arrange that to happen, I mean, I want to know both of them, but if I could light them up together, if I could see Ebony and Sinead like talking, I would be really happy about that. Like, I think their businesses, there are some parallels. I think they need to know each other. And I think they're going to get that 1 + 1 isn't going to equal 2 with this equation. It's going to equal 7. So I'm going to give you another line that I use, and you've got my better together. I'm going to put attract, don't chase. I don't chase down people. I don't say you need to be listening to me. And I know that's going to go against what some thinking is. It's like identify your market and go after them. I have so many different customer segments that I talk to that I just worry in that moment when I'm writing that I'm talking to those people today. So before you go to write anything, think about that person or the people that are in the group that would be affected by what you're doing. So right now, there's a lot going on about gas prices. Let's make that up right now because it's really happening, right? So might be like, hey, I wanted to talk about how you can help your customers that have already bought gas guzzlers and how you can help promote your inventory that's online that is better on gas mileage, just something like that. But again, thinking like, how do I help that person? Like there's a dealer that right now has got a concern, or you don't have enough vehicles, or you can't staff properly, or I'm talking to people that are stuck in their careers, or people that want to hire people. I'm talking to all of these different groups. I'm talking to people in finance every day. I'm talking to people that own businesses, that people that work in those businesses. So I just went, before I start to write, I think about a person, and then I kind of do this with them. So if everybody could just put your hand out right now, just put your hand out like that. I'm like, I see a person. I actually like see a person, and I'm like, I have a little conversation with them. And as I'm writing, I'm editing to make sure it sounds like a conversation. So that would be my next tip for you, is create conversations, so that when you read it back, it doesn't sound clinical, technical, no jargon, all that nonsense, right? That it just sounds like we are having a chat. So I might be talking to Cassie about decorating our houses or something like that. It's like, hey, I've got a line on these new blinds and they're absolutely amazing, blah, 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 right? But I'm thinking about her. And when I was at market, I ran into my friend, Cassie, who has a business like this. And she was telling me about the latest and where you get the best prices and tips on measuring. I would just keep going, but I would think about that person. The next thing I'm going to give you is we're not all the same, and we're not only one thing. You are many things, and I think that's awesome. And your audience isn't all the same. They are many things. So go ahead and be your full best self, because different pieces of your conversations are going to appeal to different people. And sometimes LinkedIn's even going to nudge different people into the purview of your posts or not. So I'm going to give you the word balance though, and I'm going to tell you what I kind of use loosely, and I started and stopped tracking over and over. But for out of 10 posts that I do, 3 are heavy on information. Here's what you need to know. Here's what's happening. 2 or 3 are on talking about other companies. 1 is my opinion on something that's happening, right that should be wronged, but a different way to solve things. And 1 or 2 will have a more personal bent to them. Now, this does not mean, even if you can pull it off, this does not mean photos that you should only be sharing with your closest friends. This does not mean boring the heck out of them with things. But if I do have a dog that is also a therapy dog, or I'm training a dog to be a service dog or something, I have no pets, my kids have pets. But like, if I do have that, it's gonna be like, hey, here's Buster, here's Bear, right? We're going for a walk this morning to get the day started, right? To get the day started, we're going to hustle out there. We took in some sunshine. People love this stuff. You are now three-dimensional. You're going to run in a race. You don't even have to show yourself finishing. I put a picture on a few months ago of me just lacing up my shoes. I was going for a walk. It's just my shoes, friends. It's just my shoes. And I'm like, okay, this is the best way to start the day. I've got to get going. But all of a sudden, now I'm like a real person. I will do shots from my patio. I have this little pond, and I'm reading because every morning I read my Wall Street Journal and something out of another book that I'm working on. And I'll just take a shot, and my coffee's sitting there. And what it shows is, this is me. I might not even write about anything that's on those printed pages or anything. They just get a glimpse into who I am. What's my character? So my reputation that I've built is by giving them the whole thing. Now, I'm going to tell you something that's a little bit nerve-wracking for me to tell you. I'm going to tell you real quickly. I hate having my picture taken. So the algorithm, though, loves photos. It just absolutely eats photos up. And this started when we were talking about Google years ago, as they bought YouTube, and, you know, video, it's photos. It's like this content where we see each other is everything. The algorithm loves it and people love it. So I even A/B test my posts. I'll put something that's very official looking, then I'll put a picture of me. The picture of me always wins. But in 1995, I went to my doctor for a little bump that was on my lip. And I'd gone to a dermatologist before, and they'd taken a whack at, you know, they dug in there a little bit, took a stitch, whatever. Well, the thing was back again. I'm like, the same thing, the same place, right here, my upper lip. Now, I'm not one of those people that thinks they look great, but my lips were like the best feature that I had. And so I remember going to the doctor. I'm like, I just want this fixed. It's bugging me, right? And so I went under surgery, and I woke up. They had found cancer in my lip, right here above my lip, and they removed 20% of my upper lip. This rendered me unable to eat properly for months. It was 2 years before I ate food in front of other people. I'm not making this up. My lips still, I'm going to show you now. See how that is right there? People with cleft palate will say to me, did you have a cleft palate? Because it kind of looks like that. So I'm always like, no, this is what it was, but how's that been for you, right? So I got this thing going on. So my smile that used to be like, I think my best feature is like, it's really like twisted. So for me to smile to you today, I have to like, because this is paralyzed now, I have to go like this, because they cut nerves when they did this, okay? So the last thing in the world that I felt like doing was what? Taking pictures of myself. And the worst thing was when we started doing selfies, and not only are we taking pictures, they're right here. And I told myself, you got to get over it, because people like real people, and you're not being your real self. And the second that I lit it up and just rolled with it, more magic happened. And so I've only told this story once before, but I tell you because, you know, we all have our things, our reasons why, whether it's, you know, we don't want to look like we have a big ego, or we're ashamed of the way that we look, or we don't think we have the coolest new hairdo or glasses or makeup, or, oh, I've got 15 pounds to lose. I'm just going to tell you, forget it. Because when you come through, it's you that comes through. You're the only person that's seeing that lip. You're the only person fixating. Like I have a droopy eyelid too because of it. Like I'm the only, it's like this whole side of my face. Now, John, the next time John and Elena see me, they're going to be like, oh, geez, we never knew. but really, this is, it's the truth. But I'm telling you this stuff raw because I want you to know these things were getting in my way of exploding what was happening. I had built it, I deserved it, I owned this space. And if I wasn't able to literally put my face out there, I was holding back opportunity. So once you do this and you start writing with consistency, you now create evidence for people to want to talk to you. You now build confidence in people that you don't even know. Your phone is going to ring on a Saturday morning. I'm pointing to my table where it has here at 7 o'clock from an owner of a company saying they want to talk. They've never once posted. Here's what I want you to know about social media. They might have never once sent you a like, sent you a comment, anything. Your best possible prospects will usually never comment or post on your social media. But they are watching, they're gathering information, they're building evidence. Why to talk to you? They're building confidence in you. Your likability has gone up with them. And now they're already listening to you. So when they call, I'm not going to say it's a layup, but I'm going to say you're already in a friendship and treat it that way. You're in a nice relationship because they've already built that with you. You did the work. So this is why I tell you, you build this audience through your own story, build this audience with your own imperfections, build this audience with what's on your mind, what's on your heart. Edit yourself. You don't want to be speaking poorly of others. You don't want to be using bad language. You don't want to be showing weird bikini shots, but you do want to just be yourself. So when you do that, set your intentions for what you want to accomplish out of it and hold yourself to a great set of accountability. There's nothing more rewarding every day than the work I do on LinkedIn. I spend about 45 minutes a day, maybe more, maybe double that some days on LinkedIn, but it's all my business comes through LinkedIn and extensions of that. So I'm getting ready to go into TikTok, back to my face, and it's all kids, but I'm getting ready to go into TikTok next. But I'm not afraid because it's going to be fun. I've done it. I've dabbled a little bit. And so I just want to refine what I want my message to be on that platform. So now that I've talked a lot, I'm sorry I don't have any interesting slides and no stats and no studies, but this is my real story straight to you, that on no budget, you can absolutely not just do this, but you can grow a thriving business that people respect and want to be a part of. So I'm glad to answer any of your questions now.
Excellent. Excellent. I love it. I never knew half of that. So wonderful. I love these sessions, right? Mariella has had her hand up there for a while, so I want to make sure we get that first.
Okay, I don't know how that works, so you're just going to help me through it, okay?
Yeah, no, she's took herself off mute and then she put her back on. Do you still have a question, Mariella, or a comment? I see a hand up.
Hi everyone, thank you very much. I am really glad to be in this session. It is amazing. So I pitch the last round table on the last OnRamp program, and I have a question in terms of LinkedIn. So I have not yet MVP yet, but I am almost there, and I am starting creating content in LinkedIn, and it is starting working. So, but sometimes I feel that sometimes when you share a lot of information about you and what you're doing, how we can lead with like, okay, maybe I'm being very selfish or talking about what I'm doing every time. How you handle this, especially like I came here to the US just 2 years ago, and I have just few friends, and it's like, okay, I'm trying to build in connections, and I think that Venture Cafe is an amazing place, and I really believe what you are doing. Thank you very much again. But how you handle this kind of thoughts that pass through your head sometimes?
So number one, I want to applaud you for being in the United States 2 years. I like to go to Paris for fun. I can still barely order food and you're running a business. So great work. I want to applaud you also for almost being an MVP status at LinkedIn. That takes time and effort. And I love that you even know that you're close. I'm what they call in a 1% thing. And then they sent me something that's like, there's another thing inside of that I'm into, but I don't get caught up in that. But I would say this, here's what I want you all to know. Don't get caught up in vanity metrics, and write those 2 words down, vanity metrics, because you can jump on there today and go like, look, I am awesome. This is a beautiful picture of me. It's really, Photoshopped and everything, but you could get 1,000 likes, but you have to ask yourself, like, who responded? What was the ratio of men to women? What were their job titles? What did they do? Would they ever do business with me? Am I just building vanity, or am I actually impacting my audience, my desired audience, that one that we were talking to? So Marielle, I wouldn't worry so much about talking about your business, but keep it conversational. Keep their, everything that Elena was saying earlier. What are their triggers? What are their concerns? Think about those things, talk about those and how your business is solving it. Like, I do this, or this happened this week with one of my clients, and this is how, where they were stuck, and here's how we help them. But always layer that back in, it's so rewarding to be able to help people like that, or I'm learning every day. I constantly keep that message out there because it's true. But yeah, I would just say, don't worry about it. And if you feel like you're getting out of balance, if you think you're sounding too sales pitchy, guess what? You probably are. So peel it back. If you think you're out of balance with personal posts versus professional, then you probably are. Just take a look at it and just redirect. Don't get mad at yourself. Just keep pulling forward and just be aware. Other questions?
Excellent. Tony, you have your hand up, and then we'll go to Deborah.
Hi, Tony.
Hi, Laurie. How are you?
I'm good here with my crooked lip. I just told you.
Listen, you had me over here literally crying, because I'm like, you said something that was really profound. And I think that sometimes, everybody grabs a nugget of knowledge when someone's talking. And I want you to know that my nugget of knowledge was we are holding ourselves back, right? And as an entrepreneur, I've been an entrepreneur for over 20 something years.
Wow.
Yeah. And I've had a lot of different things fail and succeed. But as I'm listening to you, I never thought, because I actually came off of LinkedIn, my sister, Natasha Bowman, she's on LinkedIn. I'm on LinkedIn too, but I don't engage LinkedIn as much as I used to, because I was in the HR space. So for me, from the human resources space, I'm looking at, oh, this is corporate. But now you're making me really pivot, because I did post Dr. Brownies up there as I'm the CEO. But now, thank you for, again, some more nuggets of knowledge, because I will reposition. I do love video. I do love talking to my peeps, and I will continue to, I'll work on that. So thank you.
That's just tremendous to hear. I'm so excited for you. I can't wait. And I put my LinkedIn handle in here earlier in the chat thread. So everybody just go ahead and send me a request and I will accept you, and I'll keep you motivated to keep going. Anybody else?
Excellent. Deborah.
So hi again. Hi, Laurie. Thank you again for your wonderful stories, and you resonated with me as well. My question is going back to the vanity metrics. What tools do you use to measure that? Because I struggle with that as well. And I also wanted to comment on the move from LinkedIn to TikTok. My granddaughter, she's like, Mom, you need to have a TikTok account because this, and that, and the other. So she created one for me. And then after I started getting used to it and starting to get in the hang of it and using it, she's like, never mind, Mom, get off of TikTok.
Well, I get a lot of news, even I get a lot of great insights off of TikTok, and maybe that's another conversation for later. I'm doing videos. The lane that I've started with is developing leaders and opening up career opportunities for people, because I didn't want it to be a female only thing. And I also didn't want it to be business only, because leaders can be everywhere. Look at what's happening. I don't want to be political here, but in the Ukraine right now, like there are leaders that emerge everywhere. And so great examples of leadership are universal and important. But going back to your original, the first part of your question was on vanity metrics. So I am very unscientific. I don't sit there and do, counts on Excel sheets every day. I don't do that. I just go like, this feels right. So I will tell you one thing that I watch. Here's one trick that I use. Out of every 100 views on LinkedIn, because you can see how many people are viewing, you should get one interaction. So out of every like, out of every 10 likes, you should get one comment or one accelerated reaction. It's not a like, it's a clap, or it's a love, or it's a support, or a curious, or something on LinkedIn. So out of every 100, you should get one like. Now, so my posts average, remember, I have about 23,000 in my audience, but LinkedIn tightens that up. My posts average about 2,000 to 3,000 views. So I average about 20 likes on them. So I don't get caught up in every once in a while post something that has tens of thousands of views, but it's truly usually irrelevant. One was about a bad car buying experience my daughter had. It was just noise, but it's a fun conversation for other people to get to know me, but it wasn't ever going to help my business. But so that would be a vanity metric. Oh, I had, 200,000 views. Who cares? Right? It's just a thing. It happens. You'll get some viral moments here and there, but just say back to how does it help me move forward? It adds a dimension to you sometimes, but it doesn't necessarily change anything. So I go okay, there's likes, and then there's accelerated reactions, which I call those for hearts, loves, all of that. And then there are comments. Then I look at my DMs, my direct messages through LinkedIn. That's huge, right? Now people are doing something, they're taking action. And then direct phone calls or emails, because my information is readily available. So I just pay close attention to, has my phone rung this week off of a post? Are people talking about it or not? Is it males or females? Is it vice presidents or entry level people? So I just look. So I look through, and then when I look through and see everybody that liked a post or commented, I see if they're my first connections or second or third. So I also look at reach. Am I expanding my audience? The ultimate is a share, but LinkedIn does not care about our shares at all. They actually remove any power of a share. So if you share one of my posts, it does nothing for you or me. And I don't know why it should be exaggerated, but it's actually decelerating. Okay, so John, we're probably running out of time. I'm sorry if I'm talking too much.
Oh, we have one question.
I'll say quickly, because I know, I wanted to say thank you, and Laurie, this is a great story. What about the opposite problem where I'm afraid of being inundated? I've been a really shy person, but I post stories to say Instagram and Facebook, and I like it to be educational. And I know I want to do that for my business, but I'm afraid, how am I going to keep up with this correspondence? Because every time you're looking at who's following, you're like, oh, what is their profile? What could this lead to? And it can be this big time sink. How do you manage your time in the correspondence to keep the dialogue going and keep in communication, especially if you're doing personal notes?
So I don't worry too much about likes. There are people that do thank you for liking my post. That's horrible. Never do it. Thank you for commenting. Don't do it. People do that to drive their own. They think that it's driving traction. Even if it does, that's garbage. Back to vanity metrics. Okay. But so the only people that I spend time talking with are the people that are hitting me up directly in a comment saying they want to talk, or direct messaging me or calling me. Every once in a while, somebody posts an interesting comment. Depending on the topic material, I might be I appreciate what you said there, and you always have great insight or something like that, but I'm not doing it to zhuzh up my my reactions and my likes. I'm doing it because it's genuine. So managing my time for it, I am the boss of all of it, right? And there are times, like a couple of weeks ago, believe it or not, my father passed away and my grandson was born later that same night. And I was there for both occasions. I was off, John knows, I was off LinkedIn for probably a full week or 10 days. I had busy. So it's not a pressure I put on myself, it's a pleasure. I don't have to do it, I get to do it.
Perfect. I think I speak for everybody. This could go on for another couple hours and really be fun. I thank you, Laurie. I thank you, Elena. This has been great. If it's okay, we'll circulate contact information and LinkedIn information, and then we can keep the conversation going. Again, I learned a lot. This will go another couple hours. I love it, but unfortunately, we're already over time here. So again, thank you, cohorts, and thank you, Laurie and Elena. It's been a great session.
Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you all.
Thank you.